If you have been wondering whether you have been in a relationship or are in a relationship with a narcissist and how could you even spot that, this video is for you. And I wanted to make this video because more and more of my clients have been asking me exactly this question. Susan, how would I know that my partner is in fact a narcissist? As much as I don't like to label people or conditions, quite frankly, which is something that is often done in our society, like when somebody comes to me and says, oh, I have anxiety or I have depression or this person is a narcissist, for the sake of this video, just because I think our society understands this label, I want to continue using it just so we can be on the same page. First of all, how would you know is your body will never lie to you. That means if you have been noticing yourself being, while you're with this partner, and it could even be a parent, by the way, obviously, but if you find yourself in fight, flight, freeze mode, where your nervous system is constantly being dysregulated, you're in survival mode, you're in anxiety, you're maybe even experiencing a disconnection from your body, right, dissociation, or doubting yourself, low libido, that already is an indicator that your body is trying to tell you something very, very important. And of course, we hadn't been taught in school how to listen to our body, that your body would never lie to you. If something doesn't feel right, your body is the first place where you can identify. Now, and I also want to give you the 10, I wrote down 10 points that you can recognize on whether you have or are in fact with a narcissist. So right off the bat, rather than asking yourself, what's wrong with me, which is something partners of narcissists will often ask themselves because they're constantly getting criticized and judged on and everything is their fault, you need to ask yourself, what has been done to me? So let's just start there. Also, very high level, please know, and I'm not making excuses, I'm not condoning, I'm not justifying, but a narcissist, what's going on deep down inside is massive, not just a little bit, massive insecurity from themselves, shame, deep, deep shame, and they actually are still connected to one of their parents, emotionally, mentally, even physically and spiritually. And they have not been able to break away, which causes them to stay in this really awful state. So again, inside, the narcissist is experiencing deep shame, insecurity. They know that they do not have the ability to connect to other human beings, which causes incredible unhappiness, dissatisfaction, frustration. And that leads to an excessive need to feel superior. And this is something that will show up everywhere and all the time. Now, these traits that I'm about to share with you, remember, this is something that happens consistently, all the time, not just once in a while, right? Because we can all have a bad day. We can all have a bad moment. We can all do things that are unreasonable, unrational, right? That are like, oh, cringe, like I shouldn't have done that. And then able to look back and have remorse or regret or shame or guilt or something about that. Well, the narcissist, just right off the bat, does not have the ability to do that. So, number one, and I'm going to go through these 10 steps, okay? I personally, as much as we don't like labels, I've already said that, but the narcissist, what they are really masterful at is performance. So they are an incredible performer. They're a parasite because they're constantly feeding off other people's energy. They're constantly seeking validation and fuel. And predator. Performer, parasite, predator. Period. Number one, grandiosity. They have this hyper, super inflated ego, and they constantly need to find ways to validate how incredible they are. Like they'll use anything to show, to prove, exaggerated achievements, like anything they say, do, whatever is exaggerated. Oh, look at me, look at me, look at me, basically. And when you are the partner of somebody like that, your job is to constantly edify them and put them on a pedestal and praise them. You need to understand the narcissist will typically, their mental, emotional intelligence or lack of is somewhere like a 2 or 3 year old. You know, 2-year-old, the terrible twos, temper tantrums, that's what we're looking at, okay? And because of that, please stop trying to reason with them. They cannot. They don't understand reasoning. Imagine trying to reason with a 2-year-old. Would you even try? Exactly. So don't bother. It won't work. They do not have the capacity to understand the logic. Number 2, speaking of that, lack of empathy, which can be the most awful feeling. You might come home from work and you're like, man, honey, you don't understand. I had such a stressful day. It was that kind of a day. The narcissist, instead of the appropriate thing to say here would be, wow, I can see you are upset. Tell me more. What is it that you need? Or something like that. No, the narcissist will either try to trump, like, you don't understand, like, you think you had a bad day? Oh, you should have seen my day. You should have been there when blah, blah, blah. Everything turns back to them. Or they will ridicule your emotional experience and judge you, or like, what are you talking about? Come on, you can handle it. What's the big deal? It was nothing. So, in other words, they will just minimize your experience, complete lack of empathy or compassion. Number 3, this is a very interesting one, especially when you can watch it from the sidelines, when you can just observe. It's amusing. I mean, it's not amusing when you're in a relationship with somebody like that. Then it becomes a threat. It becomes danger. Entitlement. Rules do not apply to them. Societal standards do not apply to them. Consequences, what is that? Logic? Nope. They feel so entitled, and they will be able to justify their reasons precisely and perfectly every time. So again, entitlement. If they're late, well, you know, it was because of traffic, or they don't even bother making excuses or trying to justify or seeking forgiveness. It doesn't exist. It's me, myself, and I. I create the rules. I enforce them. It's the way. It's my way or the highway. So, yeah. Number 5. We already mentioned this, but a constant need for admiration and praise and acknowledgement. And if they don't get that, they will find it. And they will find people who will be able to give it to them. For example, if a narcissist feels in a victim state, oh, you don't understand what they did to me. Oh my God, you don't understand my past. Oh my God, you don't understand my parents. The narcissist will find people who will become the audience so that she can wallow in their misery, and everybody around them will feel sorry for themselves. Remember, the performer, right? They're not looking for you. They're not looking to fix the problem. They are looking for an audience. Misery loves company. And the more you can wound and swoon and feel sorry and commiserate with them, the more they're going to pretend to like you. Because again, that's how they get their supply. 6, the narcissist is one of the most envious people. This is a very toxic energy because they constantly compare themselves to other people. They're the first ones to gossip about everybody. First one to judge, to criticize. They should this and they should that, and oh my God, you don't understand who they married. Oh my God, you don't understand what the wedding was like. Oh my God, that party was awful. The envy oozes out of them. They're constantly playing the comparison game, and how can I outdo them, and what else can I do, and how dare they this, and how dare. It's exhausting. Exhausting. Because there's no such thing as gratitude. There's no such thing as a deep appreciation for themselves. No appreciation for appreciating their partner. Try to get praise out of them, or even some sort of acknowledgement. No, nothing is ever good enough. You are never good enough. They will constantly pick on you. You know, such a good outlet, right? Nothing you ever do will be good enough for them. And so it's always your fault, and you are the problem, and you are to be blamed, or something outside of them, of course. And so they will always find ways to literally destroy the moment, to blemish, corrode the moment. Number 7, arrogance. Let's not confuse that with confidence, because confidence, real self-confidence, is quiet, is calming. Confidence is comforting. A person who's really confident is seeking to uplift the people around them. A person who's confident gives compliments. They empower others. They encourage others. They see other people's light. They will, again, a confident person, they often don't even have to say anything, but everybody around them knows how confident they are. They're grounded, they're centered, they're calm, they're resourceful, they take responsibility, they take, right? The narcissist, the arrogance, the pompous attitude, the loudness, the boasting, putting people down, how do you say that? Condescending. They will find that person in the room that already feels insecure, inferior, they feel small, they feel insignificant, and the narcissist will pick that person apart like you ain't seen nothing yet. Why? Because it's easy to pick on the weak. It's easy to be the bully when you are the biggest gorilla in the room, so to speak. So again, it becomes comical, especially if you are not if you're not entangled with them. If you are entangled, then I recommend starting to take some steps so that you can restore your happiness, your safety, most importantly, your life. Number 8, my favorite. No accountability, no responsibility. Now again, accountability, responsibility doesn't mean I blame myself for everything. It means the ability to respond and realize I get to be at cause. I get to fix the problems. I get to make decisions. I have choices besides this one. The narcissist will not take accountability. It's everybody else's fault. They will find grandiose, incredible, creative, explicit reasons on why everything is to blame. They will ridicule, they will shame, they will victimize, they will use self-pity, whatever it takes. But it is never their fault. Nope, it's not their job to fix it. And once again, they will find a target who will align with that position. And the problem with a narcissist is, especially if that narcissist already is in a position that society considers high status, if they happen to be the boss, if they happen to be the decision maker, now this is really bad news, because the narcissist will be incredibly destructive when it comes to anything that does not consider them. That even comes to their own children. A narcissist doesn't care who it is, even if it's their own child. Irrelevant, as long as it's not about them. And if, God forbid, the child, and this is how it's so interesting, because when a child of a narcissist is still a small child, like age 2 or 3, because at that age, children typically are just running toward their parents, mommy, daddy, right, hold me, look at me, and edify their parents automatically. It's like parents are little gods to a child. But when that child starts to become bigger and older, and now that child starts to see right through the narcissist, of course, the child will then rebel against. That's when we're going to have problems in the relationship between child and parent, because, of course, the child now no longer beats to the narcissist's drum, and now we got big problems. And if the child doesn't hop to it, Peter, good luck there. Number 9, the narcissist can't take feedback. Call it criticism. Call it, hey, would you be open to a different way of looking at it? Hey, would you mind if we changed our mind here? Hey, would you mind to take a look at it from a different perspective? Nope. Can't do. That actually will cause rage, because remember, the narcissist considers themselves perfect. What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with me. I am perfect. And should somebody point something out that, God forbid, they are, again, not blemished, but open to, no, rage. They will go into big rage. And once again, accuse you. How dare you? And they will punish the person. They will find a way to punish. Remember, envy, which then turns into constantly looking for ways of retaliation, of revenge. Like, that's the headspace the narcissist lives in. And should somebody be prettier or taller or richer or better looking or fitter or in some form of shape superior in their opinion, of course, not a good idea. Number 10, master at gaslighting. This is why it's so tricky to be with a narcissist, because eventually the narcissist will have you so brainwashed thinking that there's something wrong with you, that you will doubt your own perception, you will doubt your own opinion, and don't you dare. But this is what happens, because remember, the consistency of this, the repetition of this, the constant, repeat of this, eventually, unfortunately, so many people fall victim to that, and then will begin to question their own reality, begin to question their own opinion, begin to question their own sanity, begin to question their own their own self-confidence, their own thoughts, their own beliefs. And that's the tricky part. And unfortunately, right, it takes two to tango. The narcissist will typically attract a person who is sort of like a people pleaser, somebody who's very empathetic, somebody who's very compassionate, somebody who is really out there, like almost like as a rescuer. And we know people like that, right? They're the first ones. Oh, you need help? I can help you with that. Oh, you need, sure, I'll fix that with you. And actually, this may come across as this person's really generous. The paradox, believe it or not, is that person also is a narcissist, because they too are living in a very deep survival state when they learned as a child that their only value was because they were the rescuer, was because they were the people pleaser, was because they made it comfortable and convenient for the people around them. And so now that became their survival strategy pattern. Of course, it's not healthy, because that kind of a person is an incredible target for cults, not just narcissists, cults, any kind of systems that try to recruit people. This kind of person is the perfect target, because they have not yet learned that they're valuable, that they're important, that they're entitled to have an opinion, that they're entitled to have thoughts and desires and wishes and wants and needs. And so, again, the people pleaser, now this becomes a perfect match made in heaven. So it sounds inappropriate, but that's typically why these two attract each other. And this is why, look, when my client comes to me and says, Susan, do you think I'm with a narcissist? And we go over this list, and then they realize, oh my goodness, like this is exactly like you described my partner exactly, right? Because they typically try to control. There's no such thing as compassion coming from them. Their life eventually ends up in chaos, complete chaos, because the narcissist itself is so dysregulated in the nervous system that any little thing will trigger them. So we never know when is the other shoe gonna drop. Everybody around them tiptoes around. Massive chaos. So the most important thing, if you should identify that this is who you are with, is begin working on yourself. Because guess what? The narcissist isn't here. They did not raise their hand and say, hey, I want help with that. So there's nothing we can do. And I always explain to my clients, look, I'm not a motivator. I'm not here to tell you how you should or shouldn't live your life. It's none of my business to say that. But if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you want help, and you want to turn this around, and you want to change this, I can help you with that. But I'm not here to convince you. So it's none of my business to tell you you should leave this narcissist or not. That's not for me to decide. But what I would recommend is for you to begin working on yourself and with yourself and for yourself, self-development, self-mastery, so that you can gain super clarity. You can look at this at this scene, you can look at what's happening right now in your life with clarity and certainty, not with doubt, not with anxiety, not with fear, not with, you know, feeling like you're a victim, not like you're like there's no other way out. That's not useful. That's like as if there was a gun to your head, right? But again, being with a narcissist often causes a person to stay stuck in a sense of doom and gloom and self-doubt and anxiety, and when's the other shoe gonna drop, and learning to tiptoe around. And of course, that's not a life. That's literally becoming a slave to somebody else's conditions, standards, definitions of what life should be like. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. And also keep in mind that while you might still be in this relationship, you must give yourself a lot of love, a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy, a lot of understanding, realizing you're in a very tricky and difficult position and situation. And by the way, when you might even say, how could I let this happen? Like, how? I understand that you might ask yourself that. But remember, the narcissist has learned how to groom people, how to test people, how to brainwash people. It starts very, very slowly, and they will test you. And they will do it with little things here and there. And before you know it, those little things have now become big things. And before you know that, you're now completely entangled, enmeshed in their life, in their ideal world. And so please understand, as a human being, this is not an easy situation you're in. And so therefore, please give yourself time and grace and proper preparation on how you can either, well, I mean, in my opinion, look, having been in a situation like that, now looking back, I understand that only when I took responsibility for myself, realizing, wait a minute, I put myself in harm's way. I can't blame the narcissist for looping me in. The gaslighting, the love bombing, speaking of, wait, you know what? There was something yes, another very important part I want to also embellish here is, another way you know, is, God forbid, if you happen to be, maybe you had a car accident, maybe something happened to you, maybe you are sick, you got the flu, or something like that. I promise you, the narcissist will not be there. to save you and to serve you and to help you. Now, remember, the performer on the outside, your friends, your family, your neighbors, you're so lucky. You have this incredible person. Oh my God, they're so wonderful. If you happen to be the child of a narcissist, your friends will be like, oh, your parent is so cool. You have the best parent ever. But nobody knows that there's a Jekyll and Hyde behind closed doors. That's an important distinction I forgot to mention. So on the outside, and this is why so many partners think like, what, am I crazy? Like, I don't understand. Everybody thinks I'm so lucky to be with this person, but nobody has seen the other side. Only you have seen that, right? And that's why it's almost like weird to be like, wait, how come these people can't? Because the narcissist is an incredible performer. So yes, in the hospital, they will act like they are doting over you and, oh, but secretly and silently, they're like, when are you gonna, like, what's wrong with you? Like, how could you have this accident? What? And remember, they will also blame you for everything. The accident is your fault. If they bumped into the neighbor's car, even though you were in Alaska and they were in New York, it's still gonna be your fault. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's completely irrational, their way of thinking. So you being sick, how dare you? Now you have created a massive inconvenience for them. Yes, you heard that right. Let me say that again. You have now just become a massive inconvenience. How dare you? Revenge coming your way. So the performer is going to show up like the knight in shining armor. Everybody's going to think, oh, wow, you're so... But you know better because you have seen every side. And remember, in closing, please stop arguing, stop defending. The best power move you can make, the most important thing, the most incredible thing you can do is to stop reacting emotionally. Flat. Stay neutral. One word answers. Noted. Got it. Yep. Flat. Because eventually you want to teach, just like the narcissist taught you and groomed you and brainwashed you. We all get what we tolerate. You now get to teach the narcissist how you want to and not want to be treated. And the less you interact, the less emotional you get, the less reactive you become, the less you defend, the less you correct, the less you try to make it right. Don't bother. You are wasting your energy. Instead, minimal interaction, flat responses, no emotional waves. The more neutral you can become, the more the narcissist will realize that they can no longer get the supply from you, and they will find somebody else off your back. So I hope this was useful. And obviously, if you want my help, if you need somebody to hold your hand through this time, while you can also be safe and perhaps start planning something, a better life for yourself, I would be happy to help you with that. Most importantly, please try to remain safe. And remember, you're an adult. That means adult archetype means responsibility. You do have the ability, hopefully, unless you're so totally dependent, which is a whole other story. If you're extremely dependent on that person, then that's a whole other thing. But as an adult, the adult archetype is responsibility, the ability to respond, to realize, hey, these are the things that are not working. I'm not satisfied here. This is not okay. How can I respond differently so that I can expect a better outcome and better results? Make sense? I'll see you next time.